Welcome to Stories of Hope. I'm Christine Hotchkiss. Each week I bring you stories that will inspire you, educate you, and give you hope. I want to thank my studio sponsor, the Motivated Mind Group, a global creative agency based right here in downtown Chandler. Today my guest is Jennifer Armour, and she is with Armour Foundation for Kids. Their mission statement is, the Armour Foundation for Kids is a nonprofit organization dedicated to easing the financial burdens of families battling extreme medical conditions when health insurance is not enough. We assist with copays, premiums, deductibles, and medical-related out-of-pocket expenses. Ooh, and we know that that can be very costly. Please help me welcome my guest today, Jennifer Armour. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, and we finally got to connect. And I am super excited to hear more about the organization. But you're not the only one. It's you and your husband.
So my husband is the co-founder, yes.
Okay.
But he focuses on our other business.
Okay.
So my daughter is actually on my board, and we have several other board members.
That is wonderful. Now, you started 2019. 2019, so fairly new, but enough to have a grounding of dedication to the community. You have a lot of different things. I went to your website on what you actually do, what your vision is. So I read the mission statement, but tell me, where did this come from? Where was the idea that you founded it?
So, excuse me, in 2011, my really good friend lost her daughter to a brain tumor. And at that time, I wasn't financially or emotionally able to help. I was going through my own turmoil. So my husband, we have an HVAC company, and he said, you know, your heart is really helping other people. So you should just start your own nonprofit. And we did that. And I prayed about it. And he said, well, do you know what you want to do? I said, yes. And that's where the Armour Foundation for Kids came into play. I don't want any mom or dad having to stress out because their child got sick. And if a child is lucky enough to have two parents, one of those parents usually has to quit work because of all the back and forth. So I make sure I can take just a little bit of that stress out and make sure the medical bills are covered.
You talked about your friend who lost their child. Was that what you saw going on with that parent when she had to go through the stuff that she did as far as the child?
It did, but unfortunately, I was a horrible friend because I was going through my own personal turmoil. I couldn't be there for her.
Sometimes it's not that easy to be there for everybody else.
No,
and it's
not.
Okay, but there's like a guilt in you.
There is.
So this inspired you.
I fight every day to make sure I have the funds to make sure that these kids don't have to see the stress on their parents' face.
I know some people who have children that have either gone through chemos, different illnesses, and some that have not survived. And they too have found organizations that have helped others based on their story. That's why I asked you how it became something that wasn't directly you, indirectly, but it still means the same thing.
Correct.
So tell me more about what it is that you actually do. We just talked a little bit about how you didn't want a parent to have to go through the financial parts.
So we'll actually pay up to that family's max out-of-pocket deductible. We'll arrange private jets if they need to go to states for other treatments. We've had two little girls that actually had to go to Italy for a specific gene therapy. Wow. It was the only place that could do it. So in that time, it was just me. So I was doing community yard sales in August because we had to raise so much money because they had to live there for 6 months. So it was completely able to save one child and prolong the life of another.
Okay.
So it's very impactful. And at that point, I knew I had to do what I needed to do. I've built bedrooms for a child who could not walk upstairs. I went full circle with another family, and he helped turn a family room into her bedroom.
So it's not just the medical financial part of it, it's whatever you can do to assist with the burden of...
That's correct. That's correct. So it all has to be medical related, but we have different things that we do to make sure it's covered.
So you talk about the out-of-pocket costs, which we do know insurance has their limits. They have their copays, and then there's always that question of, wait a minute, I've already paid this amount. How does someone qualify? How do you know for sure that this is, not that someone would say anything about their child being ill. I'm assuming that you would actually pay directly to the providers.
Yes, we do. So once a family comes to us, they have an application process, and then we verify through the social workers that that child is truly going through an extreme medical condition. It has happened to me once.
Oh, really?
Yes, so I'm very cautious, unfortunately. And once we do that, they send us the bills. We pay those bills directly, or they're reimbursed for any receipts that they provide us.
What's the most money you've had to put out?
$295,000.
Ouch. Okay.
That's for the 2 girls to go to Italy.
Wow. Was that a good outcome?
It was. It was a very, very good outcome.
And how old were they?
Kira just turned 4, and Olivia just turned 6.
Little one.
And again, I'm foggy with the brain, the ages, but I can tell you their names and I can spew off their diagnosis.
And now they're back here in the States
They're
and
back
they're good.
here in the States, and it completely cured Kira, and it prolonged Olivia's life.
To go to another country for services, that's quite interesting.
Yes, they had to live there for 6 months.
To establish it, or because they had to go through the treatment?
Because of the treatment.
Wow.
And they still have to go back for regular certain types of blood draws to check the progression of the genetic mutation.
And can't do that here.
Cannot be done here. But their mother is fighting for it.
To be here?
To be here, yes.
You have to find the right professionals in that field to know how to even go into that direction.
Oh yeah, it's amazing what they've done so far.
Wow. And so this keeps you busy?
It does, yes.
Okay, so it's a 24/7 type of thing?
It is.
How do you get the monies?
We have major events. We have July 29th, we have our casino night in Ahwatukee, and that's a huge fun event. And then every year we have our gala. So our Shine the Light gala will be September 23rd at the Sheridan Wild Horse Pass. I may or may not be there. It just depends on when my grandson decides to make his debut.
Oh, those kids.
Those are our biggest fundraisers. We ask for monthly donations. We have a lot of supporters that do that. But our sponsorships and our corporate donors really help.
So is it a long process for someone to actually inquire about whether they qualify or not?
No, not at all. So once they call, they fill out the application with the DocuSign. I call the social worker just to verify. Our board reviews it just to make sure we have the funds, or how do we get the funds? Because there's nothing worse than having to look at a parent and tell them, no, I'm sorry, I don't have the funds. And unfortunately, we're coming into that with the economy the way that it is. So I have to scramble.
I think most of the nonprofits have to, which is why I'm very passionate about giving an awareness as to who they are, being here, or I'm very active in the community. Ahwatukee is one of them as well. And just to know that there's always money exchanging hands, but there's not enough money exchanging hands at the same time.
Yes, that $25 donation, I'm so thankful to have, but I need more to come in. $25 may cover a prescription, but I'm grateful that I have what I have coming in to make sure I get to do what I do.
So do you ever get to see any of these families or the kids?
Constantly.
Oh, wow.
Yep, they become part of my life.
Okay, so you get to watch them through their treatment?
I do. I get to go to birthday parties. I get to go to, family events. They literally become my family.
So what, do you have a program set up, or is it just an application and say, hey, let me see the bills and what we can do?
No, it's just the application. And then we discuss the different options, and we go into more depth detail on what I can cover and what I can't cover, so they know ahead of time.
I'm sure they have other resources that they're trying to tap into as well.
Yes.
I mean, especially when it comes to medical bills and a child at that.
Yes.
Do you partner with any or collaborate with any other organizations?
There's some great other organizations out there. Children's Cancer Network, Amanda's Hope. We each do different things, so it helps that family. Lily's Pad, I'm very excited that they're having their grand opening
on the 15th.
Yes, I'm very, very excited. Early in the beginning stages, I actually did a food truck festival for Lily. So just Brad and Michelle are wonderful, and Dawn, she does so much to make sure that Lily's Pad is going to be a great resource.
So I have to share something with you, because these organizations you shared with me, I know them personally. And I had Miss Lily as one of my guests here, and I gave her my Wonder Woman watch, because I know that she is the VP of Inspiration of her own organization.
Yes, she is.
What a great young lady.
She is.
Yes. So it's stuff like that that are successes that, yes, something had to happen, and not always does something happen that is a good thing, but something good comes of it, if that made sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so to hear these stories, and I know these organizations, and there's a lot more out there, I'm sure I don't know.
There's so many great organizations, and we all do our own little thing. So I'm so excited that I can tell my families, now you get to go here and play, and don't have to be isolated.
No, or not be a kid. And when I say that, not be a kid, you and I are talking about Lily's Pad specifically.
Yes.
But just like Amanda Hopes and the others that you talked about, it's Amanda Hopes, it's Amanda Hope. Kids can be kids.
Yes, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, because a lot of kids don't get to, because they have other things going on, and they can't leave a hospital bed if they are sick too.
Yeah.
And how does someone find you to be able to know whether they qualify or not?
So they reach out on our website, or they can ask their social worker to give them the application. But all they have to do is reach out by email, by phone.
I know you can't talk about all the details of stories and your, what you call them, friends or clients?
We call them Armor Kids.
Armor Kids, I like that. Okay. Tell me a success story. I love these.
I will. I'm going to tell you about Nash. Nash was diagnosed with liver cancer at 2 years old, covered 90% of his liver, and he is just the cutest thing, gives you the biggest hugs, and always has the brightest smile. And so we went through a couple different things where he was going to have a liver resection, a liver transplant. So there were some disappointments going through, and then all of a sudden at the right time, it was unfortunate for another family, but a liver became available for Nash, and it was a perfect match. So Nash is now cancer-free with a new liver. His little hairs are growing back, and he's still bright smiling. And that child is going to make a difference in the world like you are not going to believe.
I like hearing stuff like that. The sad side of it and the positive side of it, I think we can all relate or have heard stories such as this, that you're joyed for the recipient in this case, and you're saddened, but I think that that's another unity that they can now have too, knowing that their loved one is living on through someone else.
Right, because we actually have a program. It's called Logan's Healing Sounds. It's in honor of Logan. Logan passed away a few years ago. He fought for 3 years against leukemia. And music and dance was very, very important to Logan. So we started a music therapy program in his honor. So every child that goes through music therapy, they get to take a piece of music equipment home with them to help continue their therapy. And just music brightens your day. So we allow that to happen and honor Logan's memory. and he will continue to be dancing while they're playing their music.
That is very special. What other things that are a part of your organization that I didn't ask about?
So we have an Armor Cares program. We actually provide on not just the oncology floor, but the PICU. We're working on getting in with the epilepsy floor and a few others. But we provide the parents everything that they need. We collect blankets, cell phone chargers, hair ties, contact solution, everything that you wouldn't think of needing. And most of us just carry our purse and our cell phone when we're going into the hospital, not knowing that we're going to have to stay. And that's the biggest thing.
That's the tough part.
That is.
Because you go in there, and I know some people who they went in and they didn't realize that they weren't leaving.
Yes.
Yeah, and at Christmas time, I have my own nonprofit that at Christmas time, I don't know if you've ever been in the Children's Hospital where they have the Christmas trees.
Yes.
I'm one of those trees. So I bring gift cards to the families. I say my organization brings the gift cards because there's those families that can't go home for Christmas.
No.
And so I make sure they don't have the hair ties and such, but I give them other things that are for the parents because the parents are on the journey as well as the child.
Absolutely.
The parents get to come and go should they want to. Most of the time they don't want to because they don't want to leave their child. But that child is there that whole entire time.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we do as well, we actually have a toy closet in our office. So if it's a sibling's birthday, the parent's allowed to come in and get whatever they need.
That is great.
Christmas, a special occasion. We don't want the siblings to be left out any more than they have to be.
No, like I said, it's the journey of the entire family.
It really, truly is.
And you said in the very beginning that should there be a family of the parents both being in the child's life, there's always the one that's going to have a different responsibility and their own heaviness and their own hardship in their minds, whether it's the financial part or the emotional part, but at least it's a balance and that they can find a way to have you be able to relieve another part of the stresses. That is amazing.
Absolutely.
Tell me more about the fundraisers that you just talked about.
So July 29th will be our casino night. It will be held at the Ama Room in Ahwatukee. So we'll have blackjack tables, we'll have poker, just a fun night of getting to gamble, I guess. Legally. But, you're able to give back just by putting in your buy-in. And then our gala. Our gala is the biggest fundraiser of the year. So it's a black tie event. We have live music. We have our silent auction as well. We'll have a wine pool. It's just a good night of being able to just relax for 5 minutes.
And give back and feel good.
Exactly.
Food, fun, and family.
Absolutely. I mean, we have families that come and buy tables so that everyone's there. And they get to hear from several families the impact that their contribution made to the family. And then we talk about the ones that aren't here with us anymore. I've been to too many celebration of lives, and that's not fun. And we just keep their memory going. They're with me every day.
Yeah, I see some artwork
I
there.
do. I have several tattoos that unfortunately I have to keep adding to, but I don't want to.
Understand. The circle and cycle of life, right?
Absolutely.
But while we're here, we can honor them as best as we can, as we will be one day.
Absolutely.
What else do you have on here that's a part of your organization that I didn't ask? I feel like I don't, with you not having like a program, more of like a, hey, here's an application, fill it out,
Right.
let's see what we can do for you. What else do you offer?
Because we're so different.
You are. That's why it's actually hard for me to ask
I
questions.
know, it's so different. Because we focus on the bills. I mean, we do have an Amazon wish list for items that we get requests for from the hospital. It's just basically getting me that introduction to a business that can help give back. We are, it's a great way if you owe too much on your taxes, of course. Donating to a nonprofit. You get that back on your state taxes. But it's getting the right connections and being able to tell them my story so that they understand. No, we're just not a nonprofit, paying massive overhead. We give every penny every penny goes out to our families.
You're a mom.
I am.
I'm a mom, and I know the hardships when it comes to hearing about a child being sick. And you see this over and over and over, just like doctors see what they see. Is there a time where you just have to say, I just need to just stop for a minute and just take a breath, because it can be heavy?
Absolutely. I have a great team of businesses. I get regular acupuncture. I have to meditate. I do a sound bath healing, and I take that, 20 minutes to an hour sometimes to myself, because I will carry that stress with me for that family if I have to, and let them know, don't worry, I got this. We will figure this out. So I will make sure I do everything humanly possible to make sure that those bills are paid.
Self-care, it's making sure you're doing your self-care.
Yes, I have to do my self-care.
Yeah, we forget
My
that.
husband makes sure of that.
We forget to do that, and then we get reminded when we have been maxed out, and someone says, well, when's the last time you did something for yourself? Well, as a matter of fact, I painted my toenails.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I keep going. I have to go to the nail salon.
Right.
Let me figure that out.
Right.
So
I appreciate you and what you're doing for the community, and I know only you through the Chandler community. I don't know where else you expand out.
So we expand to the East Valley. We'll go to Maricopa, Queen Creek. We are very selective. It's got to be, in the East Valley. Right. And if they're not, I do direct them to several different resources. I don't leave them empty-handed, but it's gut-wrenching when I have to tell a family no.
But I'm sure they've heard no a few times, but like you were an organization, someone probably referred because someone else told them no. It's the same thing. You're just continuing to refer and say, there isn't a no permanently. There's a no from me for now. Let's see what else we can do.
Right.
Okay, good. And what is the website again?
www.armorfoundation.org.
Is there anything that I didn't ask that you want to share?
Come to the events, get tickets, become a monthly donor. Believe it or not, $10 a month adds up for us, and that can make a huge difference.
Now I have one final question that's unrelated to anything that we just talked about. And I like this question. I say that at every single interview because it gives me a different perspective about life and people. And we know we can do a lot of that. If I only had one question to ask an individual to get an idea about who they are or where they've come from, it would be this. What message would you like to leave everyone based on your journey of your life?
Don't let any child go into battle without their armor.
Wow, that was a quick response. We all need our armor, but not everyone has the thick armor that a child is looking for.
Absolutely, and I make sure they have it to the best of my ability.
And I'm sure that sometimes is not enough because you're looking for more.
Yes, as all nonprofits are struggling right now, every one of us are. So even if you just make a small donation to any nonprofit, it goes a long way, believe it or not.
Thank you, Jennifer, for sharing the foundation with us, the success story, and how we can find you.
Thank you.
Another great one. I never get tired of these. I always go, stay grounded. Because I'll never live everything that everyone's going through, but I get to live through everything that everyone's gone through.
And that is very important to stay grounded.
Absolutely it is. Oh, I want to thank my studio sponsor, the Motivated Mind Group, your global creative agency based right here in downtown Chandler. If you'd like to share a story or know someone who has a story to help someone else on their journey of life, please email me to the address of stories @ChristineHotchkiss.com. And if you'd like to be a sponsor, please email me to the address of stories@ChristineHotchkiss.com. Until next time, everyone, I wish you well, and you take care.